Hello, everybody, and welcome to Roll Together RPG and to this special one-on-one where we get to explore the backstory of one Huxley Bricklesnout. My name is Josh. I use he, him pronouns, and I shall be the game master for tonight. And as you can see, I am joined by a Roll Together veteran, Liz. Hi, Liz.
Hello. I'm Liz. I use they, them pronouns. I'm assuming that's what I need to say right now.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
I should have said, Liz, introduce yourself, but yes.
My name is Liz. I use they, them pronouns.
There we go. Professionals. Before we begin, we have a couple of sponsors and supporters that we would need to thank. Our sponsor for this particular game is Phoenix Dice, and our supporters are Bearded Ladies. Links to those will be in the description below. If you like what you see, please do leave a like, thumbs up, comment, and all of that sort of stuff. It helps the algorithm tell us what you like so we know to make more of it. It's really good. Thank you. Massive thank you to our D20 Club on Patreon. They are fantastic. They are the best. You can join them from as little as one of your local currency or one goat, which must be sent to Tom. No exceptions on that because the HQ, the kobolds can't cope with the goats that have been sent to HQ, so they have to be sent to Tom. And I think that's everything. Yeah, so we're going to have the little logo appear now, and then we're going to jump straight into the session. Our story begins in a random place in the Feywild. Now, the Feywild is a very colourful place. There's all you might think of when you think of grass and the sky. You think of green and blue, and you think of green and brown for trees. The Feywild is all of that inverted, turned around, put in a paint pot. Paint's been thrown everywhere. You've got pink grass, you've got blue grass, you've got yellow grass, you've got red grass, you've got the sky is a rainbow of colours. And we are in a almost swamp-like location for the beginning of this story, and we come to a point where there are two heads that are currently sticking out of some deep mud. Both of these are hags, just generic hags, so not sea hags or anything like that. It's just generic hags, and they do not look very happy. One of them is going, oh wait, where is he? Quicksand again? Oh, you're going to get him? Oh, I can't move my arms. And the other one's like, oh, I always fall for this. Where are you? And stepping out of the nearby brush, we see, Liz, would you like to explain what a younger Huxley might look like?
So I need you to just take a little moment and imagine what the downy fluff of a newborn duckling kind of looks and feels like. Now that is the texture of this bugbear's fur. This bugbear is Huxley Bricklesnout, and his fur color is that gorgeous place between a nice light blue and a nice light pink. His tusks are just coming through on the old wide lower jaw. Right now he's fashioned from much of the surrounding foliage, a garment, much like a robe, on which he has adorned some little strands of grass just on the shoulders. Now, we've talked about the grass, we've talked about the sky. This grass laughs, so whenever Huxley makes a joke, they will laugh. He's feeling mischievous. The mud doesn't bother him. I like to think that I mentioned the ducks earlier. Now they tend to, whenever liquid gets on their downy fluff, it tends to roll straight off. So I feel like the mud does a similar kind of thing. So he's mud repellent. So he kind of stands out. It's very easy to see him. Maybe against the kind of pink sky, he's slightly camouflaged. So wherever that horizon line is, maybe he's difficult to see. But yeah, he is bumbling. He is not so stealthy yet. Now bugbears are commonly quite stealthy creatures, but he's just working out how to be stealthy in this moment. Yeah, that's Huxley.
You are looking out over the incident that you have caused. Two hags seem to have sunk into some quicksand that you may or may not have placed there. I don't know if you have or haven't, but the grass seems to find it funny and seems to be laughing along with what's going on. And there's a couple of parts of the swamp around the quicksand where little bubbles pop up, and then as they explode, or as they pop, because explode sounds quite excessive, but as they pop, you just hear little laughs coming, and it's happening quite a lot. It's like the water itself is laughing at these hags, and these two hags are thrashing around, or one of them is thrashing around, and you can see beginning to sink lower and lower down. The other one, who, if you could see the lower half of their body, their arms are probably crossed and they're not moving at all, but they are slowly sinking down and they're just staring at you. Are you going to let us out, Huxley?
No. Usually, when a request is asked, it's followed by please.
Please?
On that please, I think Huxley will certainly do his best to aid them. I feel like Huxley is very intelligent, but wisdom's not his strong suit, so he came up with this plot, forgetting that they may actually need to get out. How are they going to get out? There isn't so much a get out plan, but I guess he'll look around to see if there's anything that he could use to help one of these hags escape, because he doesn't want to murder them. It was just for a jape.
I think as you roll me a perception check. We'll use the stats that you currently have.
Okay. Now, I'm not going to kid around. I just rolled a natural 20 on the dice.
Probably a good thing then. You have a quick look around. You are quite close to one of the hag's huts. It's probably not even 30 feet in the sort of what would be considered the northwestern direction. You can see the hut just off in the distance, just peeking out over the top of the brush of the bog that surrounds it. You would know that this particular hag has a lot of rope there. It's one of those types of hags that has like the knitting needle and thread wheel type thing. It does a lot of that sort of stuff. So there would be that sort of stuff there that you could run and grab and then throw that out if you wanted to try and help them get out.
So very quickly before I save you, I'm going to go in there. Is there anything that could pounce out at me if I were to, I don't know, prick my finger upon something within? Am I going to turn into a toad? I know you. I know you. I know what you're like.
The calm hag looks over to the more frantic hag, who is getting to the point where they're currently trying to keep their chin above, but you can see that there's still like the sand around them is still moving as if because they're trying to get out, and then eventually they just stop and they go, "Oh no, there's nothing. Just be careful. There is a needle attached to the wheel. I'm working on a spell. There's a certain somebody that I want to put to sleep."
Huxley will assume that's the other hag and be like, okay, and is going to make his way into the abode.
Don't worry, Huxley, we won't move anymore, will we? Will we, Rubblefax? No, Ebony, I will not move anymore. Tries to move a bit. Or if you can sink it a bit further, it's just under her bottom lip now. You run into the hut. It's a very small hut. There's no rooms that define it or anything. It's just a kitchen area, seating area, bed, all in this one space. And you can see that there is one of those thread wheels. There is thread attached to it, and there is a big pile of yarn in the corner that has been sort of weaved together, like double, triple weaved into what like a silk type rope, which is quite strong and sturdy. Who knows what this hag was planning to do with that, but there's about 20 feet of it that you could use.
Right. Yes, I will go in, avoid that very sharp looking needle on the old loom, whatever it is, and I will grab the rope, and it's very good rope. It's very good rope. And I will begin to shuffle my way out the door with this in my hands. I'm assuming there's like a trail of like yarn that follows me.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it's been sort of cut off at the end or anything. So there is a
Yeah.
long trail of yarn that hasn't been sort of woven together to form more of it. But yeah, you get that out there. You throw it out to to the two hags. The one who's been calmer of the two slide. You watch his hand, a gnarly, long-fingered hand, slides out from underneath the sand and grabs onto the rope. The other one tries to, but can't quite get their arm out at the minute. But the other one, the one known as Ebony, grabs onto the rope, sort of pulls it a bit, and you have to resist being pulled into the bog as well as she pulls onto it. And the rope itself that she's got on disappears underneath the sand, and you can feel her then tug on it. She's like, "You can pull me now, Huxley."
Oh, yes. Right. Huxley, not known for his strength, will certainly try and assist in this moment.
Make an athletics check with advantage because of the type of thread rope it is.
Let's go. Let's see what happens. I'm very happy for that advantage. That was 15.
15 is enough to begin pulling this hag out. It's almost like you know how when you pull a cork out on a bottle, like a sort of noise, you get that as this hag just pops out of the water. And you've been around these hags before. They are quite large creatures, quite gangly in places as well. And
cumbersome, yes.
Cumbersome
very,
is the word,
yeah.
yes. And you pull this one out and lands on the bank of the swamp area and stands up, taller than you, sort of gets all of the dirt off of them and looks over towards the other one who's still in the water. Good luck. And then she walks off. Don't do that to me again, please, Huxley. I'm getting sick and tired of falling for your tricks. I will leave you to work out how to get grubble facts out of there yourself.
I'll watch her leave and just kind of turn to Gobblefats, who I'm assuming is sort of like around here now. Yeah. Not to worry. Now, I know you're arcane, and I know I shouldn't be talking right now, but it's happening. And the thing is, one of the things why I do this to you is I feel like you can get yourself out of these situations. Now, I appreciate that clearly my perception was incorrect. That was a bad assumption on my front. I'll 1 second, and he's going to try and pull her out.
So you throw the rope out again, and it just slumps onto the slops in front as it kicks a bit of sand and mud up into their face, and they blink a little bit. You can see they're not very happy with you, but you watch as their head just extends out and they bite onto the rope. You can make
You see, you had it in you this entire time.
Get me out of here! You can make another athletics check.
1 second, yes. Let's go. Let's see. I'm getting used to this. I think it's my calling. 17 on the check.
So you pull. There is a brief moment where the rope goes to slip out of her mouth, but she proper grips down on it. Probably her sharp teeth embed into the rope itself, and then she begins to pull out. Takes a few attempts for you to. You have to. At one point, you have to let the rope go slack a little bit. Take a little walk into the water a little bit, not too far, but you just your toes are just touching it, and then you sort of have to run back as fast as you can till the rope goes taut and pull her a little bit. But eventually, after probably about, let's say 17 minutes, because that's what you rolled, you're able to get them out of the mud and out of the sand, and you pull them to the bank. And as they get up, they're slightly shorter than Ebony, who you'd freed previously, but not by much, probably around the same height as you. And as they dust themselves off, they look at you with a really evil look. Right, I'm going to make you pay for that, Huxley.
Yeah. Before you do, I would strongly consider your relationship with Ebony, because she could have helped us out quite a lot there. And she just left you to die.
She's always been mean like that. Some sister she is.
Oh, you're related. I never knew that. How did I never know that? I've been playing pranks on you for years now, and that never occurred to me.
All part of the same coven. mean to me. I make her nice little things out of my thread, and she leaves me alone to die in the mud on my own.
I think you should have a very strongly worded conversation with her. Show her who's boss.
Make me a persuasion check. To see if you distract
14?
them enough. 14.
14.
Where's my dice? I'm going to roll an insight.
Go for it.
I have the stats up, but there's no dice out. Nope, that was a 6. You're right. I should write a strongly worded letter, and maybe send some of my special apples.
I wasn't quite what I was. Yeah, you do you. Whatever you think is best. But no murder.
Yeah, well, that's rather. I could turn her into a frog. That
I
would
once
teach
knew
her.
quite a few frogs. They sang to me. They sang me to sleep quite often. I think she would make a magnificent frog.
Yes, I'm going to give her a frog apple. And she toddles off into the hut, and the door slams behind. You watch as the door slams behind. The rope that you've been holding sort of slips out of your hand and follows, sort of wraps itself around them, and then disappears into the hut. As that door shuts, you watch just off in the distance, not far behind the hut, but there is another hag walking around. This one is even smaller than Mrs. Grobblefax. This is, this one is Mrs. Mildew, who is a particularly sneaky hag, one that you've tried to prank before, has never fallen for your sand trap prank, or quicksand prank, shall I say. And various different things that you've tried, she's either avoided or not appeared where you think she would. But you can just see her with a basket in hand and a walking stick going along through the bog off in a different direction.
Does she look like she's just getting on with her day? Is she being sneaky about it?
She looks like she is just getting on with her day. You can see that the basket is filled with mushrooms, plants, maybe some herbs. Looks like she's been out foraging for the day.
Mrs. Mildew!
Turns towards you. She's a very greying skin. Her hair is long and black and is patchy, but she looks like it's consistently wet and is just over her eyes and her face. Think of the creature from The Ring, but
Yep.
The hair's a bit more patchy. She looks towards you. What do you want, Huxley?
You're looking radiant as ever, my dear. I was wondering, if you would mind coming over here to see me.
She has a little look around. Okay. She begins making her way towards you, but very slowly. And you can see just under her hair, her eyes are going around and sort of scanning everywhere.
Have you seen my new addition to my outfit? These are my laughing blades of grass. I've not named them yet. I was wondering, come here. I was wondering if you might be able to help me with their names.
Walks over a little bit further, gets a bit closer. Laughing grass.
Yes, you see, they're laughing now. Ha ha.
Oh, and she begins to get really close.
Does she go in the quicksand?
Sorry?
Does she go into the quicksand?
Ooh, now how are you going to get her into the quicksand? Are you going to stand on the other side of it?
Yeah, I was hoping to be on one side of the quicksand, she's on the other, and just try to look over here while she's walking forwards.
She keeps going forward, and you watch as her foot touches the quicksand, and her foot begins to sink, but then stops. Then she takes another step out, and her foot begins to sink and stops. She looks down, she pokes her stick into the sand. Trying to trick me again, Huxley, are you?
What with? No, I just wanted a friendly conversation, Mrs. Mildew.
How would you like it if somebody pranked you, huh?
I don't see them as pranks. I see them as mere japes, communal fun.
Interesting. Come closer, Huxley.
All
Don't
right.
worry. You go to take a little step, take a few steps, then make me a insight or perception. I'll let you choose.
I will go perception. That would be an 8 in total.
Okay, so what you don't see, what the audience will see, but what Huxley won't see,
Some of my favourite lines. Yes.
is the hand that has the basket. But they're holding it so the basket is resting on their forearm, so their hand is free.
Mhm.
And the audience will see this hag, Mrs. Mildew, wave her fingers a little bit, and some little bit of arcane energy, sort of like a static, appears around them, but nothing appears around you or around it. And as you step a little bit closer, this big sinister grin appears on her face. Got you! And she flicks her finger, and you are pushed back. You trip over something, and you fall into what you think would be into the bog, but it's not. Instead, you are almost like you're laying flat on your back, and you're in almost like a half circle shape. So your rear end is on the floor, your legs are up in the air, and your head and all that are up in the air. And the hag comes over to you, and everything around you is a bit blurry, as if you're looking through glass. If you were to reach out with your long, extended bugbear arms, you would feel a force stopping you from getting any further. And she just looks down to you. You fell for my little prank. This is my invisible sphere. Now, you have pranked us hags in this swamp for far too long, and I think it's time that we got our own back on you. So, I'm going to send you on a little journey. Hopefully, you'll learn something. And she puts her finger up against one of her long nailed fingers up against the sphere. Goodbye, Huxley, and flicks it, and you are catapulted through the sky. And if you've ever seen like a teddy bear or a toy or something in a washing machine getting swirled around, that's what's happening to Huxley at the minute. A little bit of water got into the sphere, you'll get splashed in the face. And eventually the pinks and rainbow coloured sky of the Feywild disappear, and you end up falling into water. The sphere is gone, and there is a pungent smell all around you. And as you look up, there is darkness everywhere. You are currently in water, you think.
I'll sort of stand up as quickly as possible. How am I in an enclosed area, did you say?
As you stand up as quickly as possible, you bang your head on the ceiling.
Where is this place? I like to think. I know it's the wrong time to bring tragedy, but I feel like the laughing grass didn't make it. I feel like that was a few tumbles too many in the washing machine of hag creation.
Yeah, I think maybe the laughing grass is on its own adventure now.
Oh, that sounds like a great idea. I would love to see that. Yes. Huxley kind of looks over to his shoulder to his literal only friends in this moment, finding that they're not there. Do I see any light? Can I aim for anything?
There's no light around you at the moment. If you have dark vision, then you've got the whole 60 feet thing that you can see. That's just the point. Do you have dark vision?
I do not have dark vision.
You do not. So you don't see anything other than a light right off in the distance. You can't determine how far away it is, but there is a light. It looks like it's a condensed light, so it's in one location. It's not spreading out throughout this area.
Well, clutching my now throbbing head, I will stoop, make my way towards whatever light I can make out.
You begin walking.
Yeah.
There is a lot of, I don't want to get too in detail with it, but there's a lot of resistance in this water that you're walking through. Every now and then are you wearing anything on your feet, or did you just let the mud of the Feywild
Huxley's feet are free.
Yeah.
Huxley's feet are free.
Every now and then your toes catch on elevated bits of stone that are in this water. You trip slightly and stumble forward a little bit. You don't fall over or anything, and every now and then you drift off to the left or to the right, and you walk into something hard on the side. It hits you either in your left or in your right side, depending on which side you knock into.
Oh.
And eventually you begin to feel this light breeze blowing through, and eventually you get, just before you get to where the light is, you feel another breeze coming from another direction, right as you sort of step into, and I don't know if you've ever been in a really, really dark place with no natural light around you, but if you ever sort of had that feeling that there is something to your right, and then you go there and then there's like a complete gap and you can walk through. I've done that plenty of times.
Yeah.
Let's say yes. But yeah, you can feel that there is a doorway there. The wood, concrete, or stone that you've walked into a couple of times is not there. And you can feel that there is a strong breeze coming from that direction, but there's also a strong breeze coming from where the light is as well. And there's noises coming from the darkness as well.
Huxley's thinking to himself that this must be some kind of horrific trap that Mrs. Mildew has created, this wind tunnel of sludge. He will begin to make his way whichever way the wind blows, so that it's not blowing at him.
Okay, so that would be the way where the darkness is.
Oh. In which case he won't go that way. He'll be going towards the light. Sorry, that was me misunderstanding.
That's fine. I would say make me a perception check with disadvantage.
Come on, Huxley. I rolled a 3 and a 4, total of 5.
So as you carry on walking towards where the light is now, we'll pan back to that open darkness. Again, this would be a little audience view for what Huxley missed. As we sort of descend down that corridor a little bit, there is green torchlight and the silhouette of a large sphere with multiple tendrils sticking out of it like eye stalks floating down a corridor, before we then zoom back to where Huxley is. As you get to the light, you can see there is a strange contraption in front of you. The light seems to be beaming down from above. This strange contraption looks almost like the rope ladders that you'd climbed in the Feywild, but this thing seems to be made out of metal and is fixed in position. And above there is a strange circular hole with what looks to be a metal lid on the top of it.
Huxley will begin to climb this metal contraption. There must be some way. Right. If he may get to the top, whoever's on the other side, if there is anybody on the other side, we'll just see some little fingertips just sort of peeking out of the other side as he's trying to work out what to do with this thing.
As you put your fingers in and grab, you can hear noises coming from the other side. Sounds of like stone on wood and what sounds to be like people talking, a lot of people talking, but there doesn't seem to be anybody coming over the grate as we know it's a grate, but yeah, there doesn't seem to be anybody walking over it. But you can see the light in what looks to be a blue sky, and there's lots of dark buildings that look similar to huts but are much larger and made of stone.
What is this hideous place? He will begin to shout, "Hello, Mrs. Nightshade, Gobblefax, whatever Mrs. Mildew's done, it's not funny. Hello? Hello?
No answer from anybody, but as you're sort of pushing your face up against this great thing to try and shout through it, you do notice that it does begin to wobble a little bit.
Oh.
As you're pushing up.
I'll try and push it further if I may.
Yeah, athletics check, please. We've
Come
done well with these so far.
Don't jinx it, Josh. That'll be a 9. That's 9.
Oh, yep.
No.
So moves a little bit. You're very experienced with being in a bog-like situation. The light shining on this allows you to see a lot better of what's going on around you. You can see that this metal contraption, this grate, is almost stuck in place by some sort of moss or something that has grown out of the wall and has sort of covered it. So you go to lift and you see that it begins to break the seal of the moss, but it's going to require another for you to get through. So another athletics check, please. Or if you have an idea of something else you'd like to do.
Yes, I do. Have I ever consumed such moss before? As a moss connoisseur in the Feywild, does it look edible?
It looks like it could be edible. It's green. Maybe you've not eaten green moss. Maybe you've not seen green moss before.
Green's not really a colour we tend to have in the Feywild, but I mean, if anything, I'm a little peckish, so I might just give it a little go.
Yeah, you give it a little go. There is a taste to it.
Does it taste like joy? The moss in the Feywild tastes like joy, happiness, and licorice, I believe it is.
This one tastes more like a Feywild seaweed.
Oh.
It's a little bit. It gets stuck in your teeth a little bit, but then there is this.
The right slime. Yeah.
It's got this aftertaste of something you've never tasted before, like a metallic taste to it, like a rusty. A little bit of a rusty particles inside this moss from where you've scraped it off of the metal. It gives it a bit of a taste.
I think with a little spice, we could certainly do something with this. I'm going to scrape as much of it off, put it in my little side pocket. And that could mean that this contraption above me might become free.
Yeah, so you begin making your way around, eating little bits of the moss. You get used to the taste after a little while. The initial taste of it, you get used to that. Sometimes you get that metallic-y, rusty taste come through as well, and that puts you off a little bit. But you eventually get round, and now you can try and lift the grate, and it's all gone. You can see where the metal grate meets the stonework now, and you can now make another athletics check, this time with advantage.
Come on, dice. Well, yay, advantage, because one was a 1. Total 14.
14. So with that, and with the added bonus of pushing out, eating the moss, you wiggle it around a bit, wiggle the grate around, and you can see that it begins to get loose, and then you push up and it just pops out. You can lift it up, slide it along, and climb out of the grate.
I will immediately do so and say, I've passed the test. I've passed the test. I've eaten your moss. What do I see? Where am I?
As you get out onto what we would know as an alleyway, there's darkness all around you. These buildings that you've come out next to are quite high up, a lot taller than the huts that you're used to. There are lots of bits of food and rubbish all over the floor of where you are, and the light that has been coming through and going down that grate leads off into a wide open street, as I will say it. I don't know what Huxley would know it as, but you can see there's people of all various different species walking around wearing various different class of clothing. Some are wearing really, really fine clothes. Others have got rags on. There are people that are stood behind wooden stalls selling goods. There are people buying them. There are people who are dressed in full metal armor with weapons in their hands, just patrolling around and stopping and talking to people every now and then. This is a place that you've never seen anything like this before. The people that you can see around you are species that you've never seen before. You are in a completely alien place.
Huxley will immediately consider getting back in the grate, but then steel himself. And whoever is walking past him the closest, I don't care who it is, he's gonna muster his courage, step on up to them, and be like, "Hello, my name's Huxley Bricklesnout. I was sent here by a very naughty lady, a hag, really. Don't call her that. By the name of Mrs. Mildew. I don't suppose you've seen her around."
And as you say that, you walk up to somebody like beginning to say that, and the person you walk up to is a dwarven man who looks up towards you as you come up to him, and you begin saying this stuff. You are quite large. He is quite small, and you begin talking about. He picks up a few key words like hag and and other things like Feywild and stuff, sees how colourful you are, sees the big grin on your face with the tusks sticking out, panics and goes, "Oh, no, I don't want none of this," and sort of runs off. And as he runs, he knocks into a few people who go, "Hey, watch where you're going." "Oh dear, that was very rude." And they sort of turn and everybody looks at you and is like, "Ooh, seen someone like that before."
I'm going to get the moss out from my pocket and be like, "Would anybody like some moss?" There's plenty. There's loads down there. I can get more moss for anyone here.
Seeing that you're talking to them, they, "Oh, okay," roll their eyes and then carry on what they're doing, and everyone starts ignoring you.
Maybe they just don't like moss. Right. Well, I'm going to... Which way does everyone... Is there like a flow to the foot traffic here? Is everyone specifically going a specific way?
Yeah, so it looks like... So if you were to look from where the alleyway is, everybody is going in a left direction at the minute. And it looks like this direction leads down towards some strange things that are sticking... They look like they're made out of... There's these strange wooden poles that seem to be sticking up, and they've got this strange cloth attached to them, and they seem to be swaying not just in the wind, but they seem to be bobbing up and down as if they're on some sort of non-solid ground.
Maybe there's a bog over there. Maybe they're trying to put me in a bog again. I'm going to go towards the suspected bog. I don't know what those things are with the cloth. I'm going to be wary of them on my way. But Huxley will begin to make his way.
You begin making your way down. There you can hear the sounds of people going, "If you want to buy yourself some fineries, come and buy our clothes here. Oh, we've got the best fried chicken you could ever imagine. If you'd like to buy yourself a fancy pen for writing your book, you can. If you want some paper to go with that book, we've even got it." And there's lots of people shouting stuff. Sort of, the market stalls are on either side of the street, and they are like they're shouting over each other. And it's like as soon as you walk past one person, another person's voice hits you, and first time you're looking all over the place.
I think I will start shouting, "Hello, my name's Huxley," very loud, like to match them, because that's clearly what's meant to be happening in this test that I'm in for the hags.
As you do that, you get closer to where there's some steps that lead down. You can see now these things that are bobbing up and down. They resemble like the small boats that you would use to cross large sections of water in the Feywild,
Ah.
but these things are large, and you can see there's lots of people coming on and off of them. Crates are being pulled off and put on. You can see there are some large stone statues. For some reason, they're naked. I don't know why they're naked, but they're naked. But as you're sort of taking all of that in, you hear and shouting your name as well. You hear, Huxley, come here. I have some food that you might like. You said your name was Huxley, right?
Yes, my name's Huxley. Nice to meet you. I'll be still shouting at this guy.
And as you turn around and look at this person, they are completely different looking to most of the other people that you've seen. This person is a cat, a tabaxi. Is a tabaxi who is stood behind a stool but this stool is made more of either plastic or metal, and there is hot food being served. You can see just behind them that there are a couple of other people who are working on hot stoves and things, flipping burger, and the sign above it says "Behold a Burger." Welcome to Behold a Burger. Please, Huxley, come here. We have some burgers that you might like. If you have the money to spend, we have burgers for you.
I've got some moss and some dead grass that was on my shoulder. It did laugh once.
Right. You don't have any money?
I don't know what that means.
Then, not for you, I'm afraid. Sorry, goodbye. And begins shouting out towards other people.
Maybe this is a test. I think Huxley's going to try to distract this man, this tabaxi, sorry, and try and take one of these burgers. Because surely that must be what is required of him to get home as part of this test.
Okay. How would you like to try and distract this tabaxi?
Well, I think that if I take off my shirt and throw it in his face, he won't be able to see me. I can then take one of the burgers, and then I will have won.
Okay, you do that. You take one of your shirts off, and I don't know if I should make you roll for this. I think I will, just for the fun of it.
Okay.
Make a dexterity. Make it a ranged attack.
Okay.
With shirt.
Attack with shirt. It's +4 for dex, so let's just roll +4. Roll to shirt.
Roll to shirt.
15.
Definitely beats this unarmored tabaxi's AC.
And I killed an NPC. Well done, Huxley.
Well, I mean, how often does Huxley bathe?
Oh boy, not. Unless it's bog water, in which case, does.
And you've been in the sewer as well, so...
Damn.
Yeah, so you sort of pull this shirt off and just lob it at this tabaxi's face with a little bit of force. This tabaxi wasn't exactly very tall. The tabaxi gets taken off of their feet and crashes to the floor. And you can grab one of these burgers. Now, this burger is nice, big, and juicy. It's got 2 patties in the middle. So it's got like burger, we'll go from the bottom. Burger bun, greenery, bun, bap, meat. There we go, meat. Another bun, more greenery,
Ooh.
More meat, some other meat on top of it that looks like it's all sort of condensed down, some strange yellow stuff. And then another bun on top, and it's all being pushed down, and it looks very nice and juicy. But you can hear somebody crying out, "Help! Help! My face is burning! Help!"
Burning? Who's
the
crying
smell
out?
is so bad.
Oh, I see. Well, I got the burger.
You got the burger.
See, it's in my hand. You see?
You hear some people go, "Hey! What are you stealing for? Get them!" And some people begin chasing you. These aren't people dressed in the almost like uniform that you saw. These look like they are. You've seen a few people go through the Feywild. You may have interacted with them, you may not have, but they look like they were more adventurers. That's what these people look like. They're not wearing any sort of uniform clothing or anything. They've got basic leather armor on, weapons drawn, arrows drawn, spells beginning to be cast, and they're chasing after you. Get them!
Nope. I will throw the burger at them. And begin to run as fast as I can away from them.
Burger slops to the floor and you begin running, but they give chase to you. This is a party of 4 as they're running after you. You begin running and running and running. Let's have a Constitution off. So if you would like to make a Constitution saving throw, I'm going to do a group one.
I want to know what it's like when a bugbear runs because they have long limbs, so that has to be quite entertaining. Like,
how do you think Huxley runs?
Poorly. Like,
there's
I don't know.
This could be a really, really off reference, but have you ever watched Star Trek Discovery?
Yes.
Who is the
the guy who is everybody and everything.
Yeah.
Saru.
Yeah, him. Saru, yeah. How his arms sort of wave around as he runs. Is that how Huxley runs?
Yeah, my arms are doing that thing right now, but you can't see it. Yes, that is how he runs, but quickly.
Yeah.
Because Saru is kind of controlled. Take all of that control away, leave the limbs, and make it erratic. That is what's going on with Huxley. I got 17 on the guns.
Okay, I only rolled a 10 for a 12. Just give them a basic +2, but you are able to keep ahead of them. You don't quite lose them, and they keep chasing you. And what's your passive perception?
12.
12. So you spot, as you're running, a dark lane, alleyway, similar to the one that you came out of earlier. Maybe it is the same one. You don't know.
No idea. I think like the momentum takes the limbs beyond the alleyway, but Huxley kind of stops. So then the limbs kind of retract as he's turning, as he's running down the alleyway. The limbs kind of follow him behind at that point. The arms follow him behind. He will take the alleyway.
You run down. You can see that there is a grate in this alleyway, but it hasn't been lifted out. So this is not the same one. The alley is a complete dead end. And as you're looking around, you watch as these 4 figures all step into the alleyway with you, and they all look at you. Right, we've got you now. Whatever you are, you thing. I don't like. Actually, now that you've got your shirt off, you got a rather nice pelt. I wonder if that will fetch us a pretty penny. And they begin sort of coming towards you, weapons drawn. You can see as a party makeup, there is one that looks more barbarianish, one who looks more like a fighter. There is a mage of some sort of wizard or sorcery class with the staff, and a ranger. The wizard and ranger both stay back and they're protesting against this action, but the barbarian and the fighter are both stepping towards you. They both look like they've been through a lot of stuff, and they have particularly evil grins on their faces as they begin drawing their weapons as they're stepping towards you.
I didn't want the burger. I didn't want anything. And as he's talking, he's going to be just trying to reach down with his long limb to try and open up that grate.
Yeah, make me an athletics check with disadvantage because it's one-handed.
That would be a 6.
This grate doesn't budge. Could be the same sort of situation where there's moss around underneath it, but you haven't got time as you go to lift the grate and it doesn't even budge. The fighter one runs and jumps at you, and as they sort of raise up into the air and go for a stab motion, you look up and everything begins to slow down around you. And you can move around normally. You can move your head around and sort of wonder what's going on. But this figure that's sort of trying to plunge or lunge towards you sort of just stops moving in the air. And you watch as everything begins to spin and spin and spin. And you watch as all of the housework, all of the houses and the stonework and everything begin to blend into this array of colours around you. And as that color and light and everything is spinning and spinning, it begins to fade and dim and set on a monotone grey and brown. And as you spin into place, the grey is completely gone underneath. Your hand is just touching, is flat on the on this stone floor. And as you look around, you can see that you are in what looks to be a stone chamber. There is a bookshelf lined all the way along one of the walls with books aplenty in them. There is a desk on the far side, and behind that desk, a figure waving their hands around as some arcane symbols begin to fade out. This figure is a tall elven person with silver hair and some very eloquent silver robes. And as you sort of spin into place, they rush out from behind the desk and they begin purposely moving towards you. And they just look at you and go, hello there. Sorry about plucking you out of that little situation, but I could tell, I was notified that there was some extra dimensional sort of rift that had appeared, and I could see that you looked like you were a little bit out of place. Am I correct? You're not from around these parts, are you?
It wasn't me, it was Mrs. Mildew.
I do not know who that is. However, I believe you're from the Feywild, aren't you?
Yes. What is this place?
I apologize. It's very rude of me to not introduce myself. My name is Creelin Aronson. I apologize to audience members who looked that name up on the wiki page and I got that completely wrong. They are an official D&D person. Yes, I am the current head of Blackstaff. You are currently in Blackstaff Tower, which is in the city of Waterdeep, which is where you appeared.
And how far is it to the swamp that I live in from here?
Well, unfortunately, I don't know exactly which swamp that it is that you come from. However, I would like to find out a little bit more about your home. If you'd be willing to share that information, I can offer you a roof over your head and 3 meals a day. You can have access to our libraries if you'd like to. We are in need of a shelf stacker, so if you'd like to keep yourself busy in between having conversations with myself, I would. You're more than welcome to, and I'd very much appreciate to get to learn a little bit more about where you're from. Does that sound amenable?
Huxley is quite keen on getting home, but I think through this conversation he is slowly realizing that is not an immediate possibility. I've never really had a roof, so that's new.
Walks back towards his table, pulls out a large book and begins writing down some notes. And what did you say your name was, sorry?
Huxley Bricklesnout. The sky is wrong here, by the way. It's meant to be pink. Yes, not that colour.
Right, and begins writing it. This is very interesting. Thank you very much, Huxley.
Does your grass laugh?
Sorry?
Does your grass, sing songs, laugh, heckle?
No, I've heard some of our students say that if they eat the grass, they laugh. I don't quite understand that phrase, but I've never heard of laughing grass.
If you eat the grass in where I come from, it screams. You're killing it, you see. It doesn't like it.
Interesting. You won't find any of that here. I'm not as far as I'm aware anyway, but this is very interesting to know. Writes down talking grass.
Question mark.
Question mark?
Yeah.
Right. Yes. Well, I mean, I know it is a little bit rushed, our introduction and everything, but I am the head of Blackstaff, so I have other duties to attend to. If you'd like to, when you leave, go through that door over there. Directly opposite is the library area. You can go through there and you can meet Mrs. Trickle. She is the head librarian. and she will show you to where you can begin stacking shelves. And any questions that you have, she will answer for you. I will also ask her to set up an area for you to sleep in if you'd like. Do you sleep?
I do sleep, yes.
You
Do
sleep,
you
okay.
sleep?
I well, kind of. I am an elf, so
Yes.
we like to enter into a state of meditation known as a trance.
We have elves too.
Oh, you do? Interesting. Writes it down. I think we are going to have a very firm understanding.
Huxley's gonna stand there like the most awkward, like he's been told that he can go away, and he's gonna kind of stand and realise that the conversation's finished, abruptly turn on his heel, a 180, and begin to head to the door that's been mentioned.
Yeah. So probably about 5 or 10 minutes after the conversation's ended, Mr. Arison has sat down and has begun writing some other stuff down in a different book. Looks up and notices you a couple of times just staring at him, and looks back down and carries on. You can see that there's this look of this really nervous look gets on his face every time. It sort of gets bigger every time he looks at you and looks back down again. Eventually he looks up at you and goes to say something just as you turn around and walk off.
And I think at that moment Huxley's like, oh wait. And then he won't turn back around, and he will continue through the door.
You go through the door and you are in a corridor. There is a door directly opposite you, and above it has written in a number of different languages. It says library.
Fortunately, Huxley speaks common, so that's the same. He will follow that sign to the library. I think he will run his hand against the stone of the wall as well, because this is something kind of new really to him.
Yeah.
So he'll just kind of he's quite tactile, so he will get a feel for the place as he goes along.
Quite literally in this instance.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the stone feels weird. You're used to feeling... You're used to... Everything feels weird, yeah. You're used to feeling like natural stone. And although this feels like it was once natural, it feels like it's been tampered with and has been crafted to fit the needs fit the purpose, as it were.
He will apologise to the wall. I'm sorry. You're doing a very good job now. Does it answer back?
It doesn't answer back, I'm afraid.
It's too far gone. He'll continue through the door.
Continue through the door.
Yeah.
And as you walk in, this library is bigger on the inside.
Oh.
It is large. There are multiple stories to it. There are people who are walking around, some wearing uniform, some not. They're grabbing books, and there are people sat at tables, people who are pulling books off of shelves and looking through it, and then some people put the book back in the wrong place, you notice. Naughty. But these are all young. A lot of these people are young people. The people who are wearing more uniform stuff are slightly older. As you walk in, there is a desk with a bunch of books piled on it, and parchment paper and scrolls and stuff. And you can hear a voice from behind the pile go, "Oh, who woke me up from my little nap? Oh, all right. I can't see you. Is anybody there?"
Hello, my name's Huxley Bricklesnout. Nice to meet you. And I think if there's a pile of books in the way, he will just sort of one by one take the books off, revealing his face as the books are taken off.
It's sort of that slow reveal.
Yeah. The slow, horrifying reveal where she's like, "What the heck is this?"
Oh.
Hello.
Hello there, Huxley. Hello there, Huxley Bricklesnout. My name is Gils Trickle. You can call me Trickle or Mrs. Trickle if you'd like. I take it you're the new shelf stacker that I have. Mr. Arison said that I would be potentially getting one today.
Yes. He said the same thing to me. I can only assume it was me he was talking about. So yes. That is me. Hello.
Hello there. And yes. You can see she is a halfling. She's quite round, very old. She's got these really small spectacles that are sitting on the end of her nose, greying eyes, greying hair. Not greying eyes in the terms of going blind, but just like the colour has just faded out of them. with her age, and she looks towards you and she goes, "Right, well, I'm afraid I can't see you very well. I can see that you're very colourful, and that's absolutely wonderful. Well, I have a question for you, Huxley.
Yes.
Um, Mrs.
Trickle?
Trickle. Yes,
Mrs.
Mrs. Trickle. So you are going to be stacking some shelves for us, and I can, if you're not sure how to do that or anything, I'm more than happy to show you how to do that and all of that. But I have a personal request, if that is okay.
Huxley's like, is this a test? Is this a test? Yes, that's fine, Mrs. Trickle.
Excellent. Right. Well, my eyesight isn't what it used to be, and one of the things that I have to do as librarian of this place is I have to catalogue a lot of the new books that come in. There are certain instances where I have to write out sections of books to replace older versions. If we get like an old copy of a book in and we don't want that to go out to the general public, I have to scribe my own version of the book, and my eyes are failing me. So if you are amenable to it, I would be interested in some help.
Yes, I can certainly do that. Do you have a pen? I don't have a quill, I don't have anything on me, so you may have to provide me with the relevant items. It's been a while since I've done any writing other than... It was a funny time. I wrote a note on the back of Ebony Nightshade's back, saying, "Kick me." I won't do that here, though. No, don't worry about that.
Oh, you sound rather
Trickle.
tricksy. I think
hello.
I think we're gonna get on.
Good. But yeah, if you could provide me with the relevant stationery, I will certainly do my best to oblige.
Oh, okay, right. I shall certainly do that. And she sort of walks over to a chair, sits, sort of climbs up into it, sits in it, spins it around, and begins moving. Opens the drawer out and begins sort of rummaging around in that drawer. And she pulls out this very finely crafted wooden box. She's like, "This is my personal quill. I have no need for it anymore because of my eyes, but you may certainly have it. Here you go." And she passes it over to you.
It's a fine quill.
It's right. And okay, so let me show you to the books. We'll get started on some shelf stacking first, and then once it quietens down a little bit in here, we'll move over to where the scribing is done and all of that. And as she jumps off of the chair and comes out from behind the counter, the door opens behind her, and in walks a man wearing a blue postal uniform. He is an older gentleman, probably in his 50s or 60s, human, and he walks over, and Mrs. Trickle goes, Mr. Pegg. Huxley, this is Mr. Pegg. He is our postman. He delivers all of the post for black staff into the library here. That will be another job that I can teach you. We sort out all of the different postal items for the different staff members and students here, and apprentices, and we will put them in the pigeonholes on the other end of the library for them to pick up.
How do the pigeons feel about that?
Oh no! Oh, you're very funny, Huxley. No, they're not actual. It's not actual pigeons. It's just it's a term of phrase.
Right. Okay. Well, yes. Hello, Mr. Pegg.
Hello there. Oh, very colourful. Yes, Mr. Pegg. How do you do? And he holds his hand out to you.
I do very well, I think. It's my first day.
Oh, you have very long arms. You make a perfect shelf stacker. And
people keep saying.
Mr. Trickle goes, "Yes, shelf stacker is exactly what I'm going to be training Huxley to do. I'm very much looking forward to having another person around to help me work in the library. Most of the other shelf stackers sort of don't really do it anymore. They sort of, yeah. Anyway, thank you, Mr. Pegg. If you'd like to leave your post there, I will we'll begin sorting that out later." "Oh, yes, thank you very much, Mrs. Trickle. I will take my leave of you now. I've got a new trainee starting soon, so I'm going to be training them up." And turns around and walks out the door.
He was nice.
Yes, Mr. Pegg is very nice. Sometimes on a Friday, Is that how days work in Faerun? On a Friday, he'll bring in some cinnamon buns from the local bakery.
Oh.
Yes.
I don't think I've ever had cinnamon before.
Oh, you're in for a treat. They are absolutely delightful. The family that live there are a wonderful family. They're good little business that they have, and the coffee that they make there is really nice as well. But yes, please come with me. I will take you through the shelf stacking procedures, and we're getting close to the break, so you will spend some time with Mrs. Trickle, learning how to stack shelves, how to sort out the post for the other members of Blackstaff, but more importantly, you learn and are taught how to scribe, and you help with various different books. And it's at this point that you come across a particular book that has been handed in as like a donation to Blackstaff, and this book is completely different to all of the other books that you've read. You've read or looked through, you've had fantasy books on the history of this plane, books on other planes, books on gods, books on everything, but this one is different. And as you look into it, there are arcane symbols inside of it. This is the first ever spell book that you look at. But before we dive into that little nugget, we're going to take a very quick break. For those of you who are watching us, there is going to be some small ads that are going to come in now for our not for our patrons, but for our patrons, for our sponsors and supporters and everything. So watch those and come back in a moment. Go grab yourself some drinks and take a short rest and all of that, like what we're going to do now, and we will see you in a little bit. Goodbye. Check out our sponsor, Phoenix Dice, for carefully crafted click-clack math rocks for use in your favorite TTRPGs. Phoenix Dice work with recycled goods, meaning their products and packaging are all made from sustainable materials. You can go to phoenixdice.com to check out their entire selection, including some limited Roll Together dice. And if you use the code ROLLTOGETHER, all caps, at checkout, you'll get 25% off your next purchase. Welcome back, everybody. We have had our short rest, and we are going to dive straight back into the second part of what is currently called Huxley's Past, or Huxley's Journey. I haven't settled on one yet. Liz and I will talk afterwards and confirm what the title will be, and that will be the title that you've seen above the entire time. So that's how prepared I am.
Amazing. I think we should roll for it.
Ooh. Should we do that at the end? Because we might come up with a different name by the end. Then we can roll. That'll be interesting. Let's do that. In the first half, we met a very young Huxley Brittles now in the Feywild, pulling some pranks on some hags, trying to prank another hag, which Huxley has not been able to prank in the past, got caught out, got trapped in an invisible sphere, and then flinged through to the material plane, where they ended up in the sewers of Waterdeep. Having just missed a potential encounter with a beholder, they managed to get to the surface and walk the streets of Waterdeep, being attracted to a burger stall, beholder burger stall, should I say, seeing it as a test, trying to steal or take one of the burgers, was then chased by a group of adventurers who initially wanted to stop the theft, but then two of the adventuring party realised that Huxley's pelt might be worth quite a bit of money, so tried to attack. Time froze all around, and Huxley was transported to within the walls of the Blackstaff Tower and met its current head of Blackstaff.
The Blackstaff.
Yeah.
Isn't it? The
Or just
Blackstaff of the
Blackstaff.
Blackstaff.
Probably. We'll go with that. Blackstaff of Blackstaff. Creelin Arasung, who is an official D&D character and whose name I have probably butchered
I
quite a
believe
lot.
it's spelled Krehlan. Arunsun.
Yes, and I'm terrible at pronunciation, so he's made a deal with you that you can stay within Blackstaff, take a working position as one of the shelf stackers in the library, and be given 3 meals a day and a bed to sleep in, if you tell him everything that you can about where it is you come from and the type of magic that sent you there. You agreed and were, after a bit of time, taken into the library or wandered into the library yourself, where you met Mrs. Trickle, who is currently the head librarian. She is a halfling of older age who her eyesight is beginning to fail her and has asked for you to help her scribe some of the work that she has to do, as well as stacking shelves and sorting out post, which is delivered by the postman, Mr. Pegg. We ended the first half with you getting to, having been here for a little while and having done plenty of shelf stacking, plenty of sorting out letters and plenty of scribing. And one of the books that you are asked to scribe by Mrs. Trickle is a spell book, which is the first time that you've come across something of the arcane nature within this library. So that is where we are going to come back in. I just want to touch on what Huxley's feelings might be, or thoughts might be, towards touching something that is clearly has a substantial amount of arcane power behind it, and what you might, how you might go about doing that, as we're going to sort of do like a little sort of like leapfrog time skip thing.
So I think when he first sees it, he literally does not know what it is. And I've had this little montage in my head where Huxley's doing what Mrs. Trickle wants him to do, and she's Lil. She's a little lady, little tiny halfling lady, and I think she might be like keeping an eye on him, but like on his shoulder, so he may like start to lift her onto his shoulder so she can like look over what he's doing. But when he picks up these spell books, he will be asking her what it is. He won't have ever seen anything like this before. And you know, when you find something that you're either very good at or that you really enjoy, or both, it's usually both. And there's that sensation of something just slotting into place, like the puzzle piece. He's having that puzzle piece moment, and I like to think that he, whenever that first book is finished, once he's done with it, he will probably try and scribe it out again, because he's just enjoying these runes, these arcane sigils so much that he just wants to absorb all of it that he possibly can. I mean, I don't know what the spells are within it. I'm assuming it's something quite mundane, but he is all over it. Prestidigitation, whatever the cantrip, like, he is loving it. And then as we hop through time, maybe he's getting older. Maybe his downy fluffs is becoming a bit more kind of sort of heavy. But he's really studying in, and the way he's copying it out is more methodical, and he's kind of nodding along as these runes and sigils are making sense. Of course, with spells, there's verbal, somatic, material components, and I think he would possibly be trying out some of the somatic components and then realizing what he's doing, looking around to see if anyone's noticing, and continuing on with his scribing work, which is really all he's been asked to do. Yeah, and I think the montage would see him becoming more proficient and quicker at copying these things across.
And during this time, Mrs. Trickle is pretty much always present, either sat on your shoulder or asleep behind a pile of books. She likes to take regular naps, and with the amount of time that you've spent with her, she's begun to leave more and more responsibilities to you, keeping an eye on the other students and apprentices that are here studying, while she just goes and has a little bit of a rest as time's gone on. She's also getting a little bit older, and it's her eyesight's going, and her joints are creaking and cracking. And she was.
This is Trickle. Shh, you're in a library. Stop creaking.
Stop noisy. She was about. She told you that she was about 145 when the pair of you first met, and as time goes on, she begins to encourage you to practice some of the spells that you are learning. A lot of the books that she pulls out that need rescribing are books that a lot of the spell books that she pulls out, that need rescribing, are books that aren't pulled out that often by other people. Other apprentices, and mainly the apprentices, go for the spell books, should I say. They're allowed up to that level where the spell books are kept. And a lot of them go for, the typical fashionable spells like Fireball and Counterspell and, all of those. Whereas these spell books have got more of the mundane spells in, the ones that aren't used as often. Fog Cloud, as an example. And there's loads of other spells that I know aren't used as often that have just completely fallen out of my ears at the minute because I can't think of what they are. But yeah, you are left to scribe these books as much as you'd like. During this time period, there is a student that you meet. An apprentice. Well, they start off as a student, and as time grows on, they eventually graduate into becoming an apprentice and start studying magic. This student is called Astra Sliverpeck. They are a human of royal or noble heritage, and they come to Blackstaff having been sort of transferred from Candlekeep, and sort of like a what's the word, exchange student, as it were. Parents have moved to Waterdeep recently for merchant business and all that sort of stuff, as Waterdeep is quite well known for its merchant district and trade and all of that. And so his family's come over, and he's come over as well. He's got a bit of a chip on his shoulder when he first comes, doesn't understand why he's here, thinks he's a little bit better than everybody else, but is both fascinated and intimidated by your presence whenever he comes into the library. He shows absolutely no respect to Mrs. Trickle when she's around, and to the point where she says to you that whenever he comes in, could you please deal with him and all of that. And out of all of the other staff members, students and apprentices that come in and out of the library, both Astra and Miss Trickle are the only ones that actually pay attention to you. The rest of them just sort of ignore you, and you just sort of, as colourful as you are, you kind of just blend into the background for them.
Mm-hmm.
But Astra is one of, as the years go by, should I say, it gets to the point where things begin to change around Blackstaff. Unfortunately, Creelan Arasun, the current Blackstaff, was killed on a mission for the Blackstaff Tower, and has been replaced by somebody called Ash. Again, another official name, Ashamon. Sounds like a Pokemon.
Go Ashamon.
Ashamon.
I choose you.
I choose you. He's the new head of Blackstaff. He's a half elf with long blonde hair that cascades down to the ground, as opposed to Arasun being more wizard-like and studious and studying and stuff. Ashamon is more adept with sorcery, so it's more natural and less writing in books and everything. He instantly cancels any sort of sessions with yourself learning about the Feywild and all of that. He hasn't got any interest in that whatsoever. All of the books and everything that the previous Blackstaff had written on that subject through talking to you is given to you to file away in the library. There's nothing else is done with it. Another thing that happens is, unfortunately, at the ripe old age of 175, Mrs. Trickle also passes away.
Long may she reign.
Long may she reign. She is given a wonderful funeral. A lot of the staff turn up. You are sort of invited. It's the family that she has got know of you and are very, what's the word that I'm looking for? They are very enthusiastic to have you there, because Mrs. Trickle spoke about you a lot when she wasn't in the library. So you are greeted there as if you are part of their family, and none of them live in Waterdeep. So after the funeral, they all go their separate ways, is the word I'm trying to say. And you're sort of left on your own in the library, and you are kind of the head of the library for a few weeks when a new head of the library comes in. For those of you who have watched Huxley's book club, this is Miss Sildove Stonestar, who is about a 400-year-old elf, very stern, very strict elf. And you very quickly pick up that she was transferred from Candlekeep, and similar to Astra, sees it as a bit of a step down and is not very happy with her current situation. Does not like you at all, and takes away your scribing rights. Does all of that herself now. She basically tells you that you have to sort out the post, because she doesn't have the time to do that, and to carry on with the shelf stacking. Another change that happens is Mr. Pegg. He leaves his position as the old postman. He retires and goes into retirement somewhere within Waterdeep, but a new postman is appointed. This postman is an Orcish gentleman by the name of Simeon. And your first encounter with him is he comes into the library and approaches Mrs. Stonestar, who raises her eyebrow at him as he's trying to talk to her and be all friendly and everything. And she's like, I don't have time to speak with you. What would you like to do? You're not too far away from this conversation, but you can see that Simeon is trying to be amenable and trying to be approachable, and he's trying to start a conversation, be nice. He's putting the post down. He's like, oh yes, I've got all of this post, and I've been told that Fridays is cinnamon day, so I've bought some cinnamon cakes for all of the staff here. So I've done that. Mr. Pegg taught me well. And how are you doing? How are things going? And she sort of scoffs. Stonestar sort of scoffs at him. Is like, I have no time for your idle chit chat. Please just leave. And he's a bit taken back by that.
I will very awkwardly step in, say perhaps a little too loudly, if there's post, I'll take it.
Oh, you make him jump because he doesn't see you approach. And as he turns to you, he's like, okay. Oh, yes. You must be Huxley, correct?
That's me.
Yes. I'm your new postman. Mr. Pegg told me about you and said to look out for the colourful one in the library, and that you are very friendly, and that I should introduce myself to you, and maybe we should have a conversation and all of that sort of stuff. And Stonestar's walked away at this point.
Oh, good. Yes. Well, now we can talk properly. Thank you for coming in with the post. Sorry about your rude introduction there. My name is Huxley. I am very pleased to meet you, and they look like fantastic cinnamon buns.
They are very nice cinnamon buns.
Did you make them?
I didn't know. I got them from the bakery. Mr. Pegg said that he likes to get them from the bakery. Yeah. It's very good, yes.
Very nice to meet you.
It is very, and as he begins to say something, Miss Stone, you hear a loud tut come from Miss Stonestar, and her shoes clipping or clopping, however the phrase goes, on the stonework as she approaches. Right, I think you've had enough conversation. Huxley, you need to get back to work and sort this post out. Mr. Simeon, you may now leave. Goodbye. And she turns around and walks off again. Simeon sort of chuckles a little bit, looks towards you. Oh, well, gives you a wink and walks out.
I don't think Huxley has ever been winked at before. So, like, has a little moment to himself. Like, he enjoyed it. He enjoyed that little wink. If these cheeks could blush, they would have, but sadly they are covered in fluff. So he will, again, quite awkwardly turn around, maybe drop a cinnamon bun on the floor and pick it up and scuttle off to complete his duties, as Miss Stone Star has suggested.
You complete your duties, sorting out all of the posts for all the various people. There's no scribing towards the end of the day, so it's sort of a bit of a void for you now. However, Astra does come in and is, at this point in time, he's graduated from being a student and is now a full-time apprentice at Blackstaff and is studying various different types of magic. And as every other person has done, following the trend, is currently studying one of the Fireball books, one of the spell books that has all of the sort of proper attacky type spells in. And he looks up towards you as you walk past with a big stack of books. Now, you are, as much as the other members of staff don't talk to you, they all appreciate your work ethic because you can carry a lot more books than they can because you've got the extra arm space.
Mm-hmm.
But as you go to walk past him, he sat down and he's scribing one of the books, and he looks up to you and goes, hello, Huxley. How have you been?
Astra, well, thank you. I see that's the well-used Fireball tome to which you are studying. How's it going?
I haven't got... Looks around to make sure that there's no other staff members around and sort of beckons you in to get a little bit closer. I've been told that my magic control isn't the best, so I'm hoping that I can take down some of the spells from this book, and I can, as you pointed out, a lot of people have used this book. So there must have been a number of people who have learned to control their magic through learning some of these spells. So I'm taking some of these spells down, and I'm going to go out to the training grounds and practice and all of that sort of stuff. I don't want to get kicked out because I can't control my magic. I'm a noble, I should be able to control it all.
You have mentioned your nobility on several occasions. Yes. One tip I do have, if you're doing anything with the evocation spells, not my specialty, but what I do know is with fire, water puts it out. So make sure you've got at least a bucket somewhere, so if something does go wrong, you can put it out quickly.
Okay.
Or failing that, you could pick one of my favourite spells, Long Strider. Not many people use it, but it's one of my absolute favourites. Or Sleep. Sadly, you can't really cast it on yourself, but it's jolly good fun if there's anyone around you that needs a quick nap.
Those sound like boring spells, but...
They're not boring. They're good fun.
Okay, well, I'm just going to keep practicing with these ones. You carry on with whatever it is you're doing, and he goes back to carrying on what he's doing.
Good luck with the evocation spells, and I will make my way off.
You make your way off. Now, a question that I have for you, Huxley.
Yes.
Now that your scribing rights have been taken away from you, how do we get to meet a certain key element of your character? How does that come about during this time? For those who don't know, you're about to find out.
It's quite accidental from memory. So I think as Huxley has been writing, he's been tinkering, because when you've been studying for something for quite a while, or you've been practicing something for quite a while, you tend to put your own spin on it, right?
Yeah.
And that's what he's been doing. So he's been testing out with ink, testing out with ways of making his pen write for him so he doesn't have to use his hand. And I think in the tome that he's been writing in with this magic ink, there's been a sort of a transformation that's occurred. And I guess as he's been writing away, he maybe just sort of heard the tome go, oh, as he's been writing in it. Hello. And I think from the tome itself over time, being influenced by the area in which he is, seeing all the stationery that is around him, the most prominent thing in a library, as we all know, is the overdue stamp. And the way of magic in D&D is quite fluid and dynamic, and whatever energy has been breathed into the tome that he's been writing in has manifested. Perhaps means that Huxley was just looking at, manifested straight in front of him, is what we all know as Stampy, which is the manifested mind of the wizard, the overdue book stamp, 2 googly eyes. I don't think Huxley was expecting that to happen. I think it was complete and utter random event as an occurrence of writing with magical ink that he tinkered with in the spellbook. And he's awoken something from the spellbook which has created this manifest mind.
Yeah, and you're sort of scribing the writing and stuff that you've done since Stone Star has taken over is sort of, I'm going to guess, after hours when she's not around.
Yes, I make sure she's in her trance state. She's trancing when he's scribing.
Yeah, and you create Stampy. Does Stampy talk, or...?
No, Huxley talks to Stampy a lot, but I don't think Stampy talks back.
No, that's fair. Sort of understands what you're saying. It's a bit like relationship between, and we've made a reference to this already, but a bit of like a relationship between trainer and Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the Pokemon do speak, but you can pick up on what Stampy's emotions are and all of that sort of stuff.
So quick little side note. I didn't realise until very recently, because I started watching Pokemon again from the top, how damn cute Togepi is. Like, Togepi has something to say about everything. Like, Misty just makes a comment to somebody else, Togepi joins in, but in the cutest way. And if you ever see Togepi about to fall asleep, oh my god, so cute. Apologies, Josh, continue.
I think that is the right sort of tangent that we'd like to go on, so
yes.
It's all good my end. But yes, so you've got that sort of relationship with Stampy. So is Stampy always a stamp, or do they turn into a book for you to write more spells in?
I think Stampy was the book, but then Stampy came out of the book and is its own entity.
So you got the book and Stampy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that makes sense, yeah. And Stampy's replaced the quill, sort of stamps the spells into your book, is the image that is in my head currently.
Sure, I mean, as far as mechanics go, you do also get a quill that does all your writing for you, but yeah. I'm cool for Stampy to take that role. Stampy's magic, right? So it can create whatever is on the stamp. Mostly it is overdue, but, you know, it could be whatever we needed it to be.
Yeah. Sometimes Stampy does it, sometimes Stampy doesn't. Depends on the mood Stampy's in.
Stampy is awfully indecisive, so one day we'll be very happy to help. The next day, nope.
Plus the quill that you have is the gift that you were given by
yes,
Mrs. Trixie, all of those years ago, and you discovered was partially magically enchanted to not wear and tear anyway. And you've put further enhancements on it to allow you to scribe faster and all of that. So scribing while Miss Stone Star is in a trance is a breeze for you, because you just do it really quickly. I think as time goes on, you carry on your duties. It's a little bit boring during the days now, because it's Miss Stone Star's just giving you jobs that she doesn't want to do, as on top of the jobs that you would normally do, like stacking the shelves and sorting the post out. I think the biggest sort of relief that you get is when the doors to the library close late at night and you are able to scribe yourself. Is one day, and after Simeon has been, and you've had lots of like little brief conversations with Simeon when he's come in to drop the post off, every time he's interrupted by Miss Stonestar. And on this particular occasion, probably we'll say 4 or 5 months after your initial meeting with him, that you go to sort the post out and you begin filing the post away into the individual pigeonholes that they go into for everybody. And you come across a letter for you. Now, you do have your own pigeonhole because you are technically a member of Blackstaff, but you've never had a letter before. But this one is written to you.
He's like, do I put it in the pigeonhole first and take it out? Is that what you do with these things? Like, he'll put it in his pigeonhole and then retrieve it out the pigeonhole, like looking around as if just to make sure no one's looking at him strangely, which people often do. Yeah. He'll open up the envelope and pull out whatever's inside.
So there is a small note inside, and the note has on it, it's an invitation. It says, "Dear Huxley, I was wondering if you fancied joining me for a drink at the Smiling Siren this coming Friday. I'll bring cinnamon buns. I look forward to hearing from you. From Simeon." With a cheeky little winky face at the end.
Huxley will then go to the section in the library about Waterdeep, entertainment section, trying to find where this location is that he's been told in the letter, because he's not really been out. So he will find it on a map. I'm assuming it's not too far.
It's not too far, no. Just down the road from where Blackstaff is. It's quite. You may have heard a few of the teachers talk about it, all the other staff members talk about it. It's sort of like the place they all go to every now and then to have some drinks because of how close it is to Blackstaff.
And he will then go to the section in the library about what to wear. He's trying to find a thing about what to wear to meet an acquaintance at a new place you've never been to before. Like, he's trying to rack his brains while he's seen these books. Like, he's flustered. He's trying to work out what to do because he's never been in this position before at all.
And a lot of the books that you come across when you're searching up, it's almost like a Google search, but it's like on a tablet sort of thing, magical tablet that allows you to search for where books are. And it's when you type that search information in, it gives you a lot of books about this thing called dating. And then you come across one book that is about formal etiquette.
I'll go with the formal etiquette book. That seems appropriate for the situation.
You go for the formal etiquette book. You have a look. It describes what it is you're looking for, but in a very around the houses sort of way. It takes a little while for it to get to the point. Mm-hmm. And it explains that if you are meeting a new acquaintance for the first time, whether it be of a romantic interest or of a friendly interest, the best thing to do is to wear your best clothing, your nicest clothing, and to make sure that you are well groomed.
Right. Huxley will spend however much time remains between now and then, once his shift is over, trying to groom himself, which, again, not really something he's ever tried to do before. He will be doing that with his fingers, like trying to comb his hair through. Best items of clothing that he has is his uniform. That's the only kind of clothing that he has. He has adapted the trousers into short shorts because he's very warm. He doesn't need long trousers. So he'll be, I think he would have several work garments. He'll pick the cleanest version. He's debating whether to keep his name badge on or not because, he'll opt to keep that on because that's more formal. And he will, yes, step out onto the streets in his full librarian outfit with a name badge, aiming towards the tavern.
I've got this image in my head of picking out your nicest clothes and sort of brushing through your hair. You try to use a brush and it keeps breaking, but you've got Stampy floating around, and Stampy's constantly casting mending on all the things you keep breaking and prestidigitation on your clothes and stuff.
I like to think as well, when he brushes his hair, like the static kicks in, so all of it begins to really static out. Yeah, why won't this stay down? I brushed it down. Why is it going up? Stampy, it's your fault.
Stampy just sort of looks at you, wiggles around a bit, and grease just falls onto your hair.
Oh, this works. I'll put it all over me. And he'll begin, lathering up. There we go. Name badge sorted.
Your rather greased up bugbear makes their way towards the smiling siren. And as you enter in, it's Friday night, so as a lot of taverns and inns would be on a Friday night, it's a little bit busy. There are a couple of staff members and apprentices around that you notice from Blackstaff, as well as some other people who do various other work around the area. So whether it be general maintenance or clergy work or anything like that, janitors and all that sort of stuff. And as you walk in, you watch as in one of the little booths in this tavern, there is a lone orcish man sitting on his own. As you enter in, he sees you, stands up and gives you a wave. You can see that he's also sort of wearing some nice clothing, not like a suit or anything, but he's wearing like a nice shirt, buttoned up trousers, and his hair is. It looks like he's greased his hair as well, and it's all nice and fancy and parted and everything.
Right, Stampy. No, you stay. Yes, out of sight, Stampy. Okay, right. And he quite rigidly will make his way over. I think from his perspective, all he can really hear is the sound of his heart. And maybe his voice trembles just a little bit in nervousness. Hello, I'm speaking a little bit too loudly. Hello, Simeon.
Huxley, it's good to see you. How have you been? You look really nice. I like the look that you've gone for. It's very nice. And he seems to be very nervous.
First time I've tried it. You appear to also have cast grease upon yourself.
I use some products. Yes. I wasn't sure if this was appropriate or not. I know we've had some brief discussions about where you're from, so I managed to get these, and he goes down under the table, and rummages around in a bag and pulls out like a bouquet of flowers. But these flowers are, I mean, you recognize these instantly. These are flowers that you would find in the Feywild. One of the local traders had these, and I thought you might like them. And he's a bit sort of ginger with passing them over because he's not sure if he's overstepping a line or anything. But he goes to hand them to you.
That's a wonderful reminder of home.
I
mean, they're sadly dead now, so they won't give us a long essay on the meaning of life, but they're very nice. Thank you.
I'm so sorry. I've been really insensitive with this, haven't I?
No. It's quite all right. It's quite all right. I stand on them quite often. They do scream.
Oh, he goes to hand them to you.
Thank you.
Maybe
you can keep this one, and he'll pick out like the most beautiful. I'm going to say there's a blue rose in there. The petals kind of perpetually twisting in on themselves.
Yeah.
And I'll put it just in his sort of lapel pocket.
Oh, thank you. And as you put it in, he sort of adjusts it a little bit, and the two little leaves that stick out of it, he sort of pops out so they can sort of act like a stopper to stop it from falling over, sort of thing. He hooks that in. So, thank you. What would you like to drink? And do you drink alcohol, or would you like a soft drink or anything?
I'm going to roll to see if Huxley's had alcohol before. I think he would have done. And I think the times that he has done have been quite embarrassing for him. But I'm going to see like how au fait he is with it. Okay. Yes. I would like, and he's going to like rattle off the weirdest cocktail anyone has ever heard of. Like, it's a dirty pint, but purple. With ice and a bit of milk.
When you say that, doesn't mean anything to Simeon, but as you've both taken a seat and a waiter has come over and has taken your order, as you've said that to him, he takes a bit of a step back. Oh, we've not had a drink like that ordered for a long time. That was Mrs. Trickle's favourite. Oh. You must be a Huxley.
That's me.
Mrs. Trickle would come in here every Friday night and talk about you. We will get you that drink straight. And you can see like a little tear begins to form in his eye. He's an older waiter, somebody who probably owns the place. And he just can't get any other words out. And Simeon goes, would it be okay for us to order some food as well? Would you like some food, Huxley?
Yes, yes, sounds like a very good idea.
Right, yes. Let me go get your drinks a moment, and then I'll be back to take your order. And the waiter hurriedly walks away.
The fun fact about this cocktail is that it is literally the same size as Mrs. Trickle. It's a big glass. So like, I love the fact that she came in and ordered that. Like, she could hold her liquor. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think the couple of times that you have drunk together is when she had bought something cheeky in for you to both drink after hours. Like if there was a extra pile of scribing that needed doing or something, and you had to do an extra long shift, and before she went home, you'd have a couple of drinks together and all of that. And that's where you got sort of the taste for it from.
But, the tipsy trickle, that's what it's called.
Tipsy trickle. Yeah. And we need to write that down. Put that on the wiki.
Tipsy trickle.
And after about 5-10 minutes, the waiter comes back. Even with a passive perception of 12, you can tell that he's had a bit of a cry, but he comes over with the drinks, and he's like, my husband said that these drinks are on the house for you.
Oh.
Down, slides them over.
Very, very kind.
A friend of Mrs. Trickle is a friend of the Smiling Sirens. May I take your food orders, please? Simeon goes, oh yes, I'm feeling quite hungry. What would you like, Huxley? Sorry, I should let you go first.
Are we going savoury or sweet?
Why not both?
Oh.
We could go both. Do you like both?
I'll have both.
Yes.
Yes. I will have, please, some mackerel. Yes, cooked. With a topping of cinnamon, please. Mixed with just a touch of beef on the side, some whipped cream with a cherry on top, please.
Would that be all on the same plate?
Correct.
Okay, yes. And the waiter writes that down and looks over towards Simeon. Simeon looks, nods, looks at the menu, nods, looks at you, gives you a wink, smiles. I'll have the exact same, please. Writes down that times 2.
I think Huxley will be looking at the waiter, knowing that if he looks at Simeon, he's going to blush that Simeon can't see, but Huxley will know that he's blushing, so he's going to keep on looking at the waiter.
Yes, right. I will get those. They will be with you in a little bit. And he nods towards Simeon, looks towards you, notices you're staring. Okay.
Okay.
And walks off. And Simeon sits there, and it's that awkward moment when you're on a first date, and not that this is a first date, but it's that awkward moment when you're on a first date and you've met the person outside of work or online or whatever instance that it's been, and you don't quite know what to talk about. So Simeon just looks around and goes, the weather's been nice lately.
Did you know that in the Feywild the sky is pink?
Oh, is it? That's
Yeah.
that's fascinating. It's blue here.
It
When
is.
there's clouds, it could be grey. Sometimes even black when there's thunderstorms coming.
You know, I have seen a pink cloud here before. It
Have
was
you?
just before a very strange snowstorm in the middle of summer.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know where I was for that. I don't quite. Oh no, I do remember that. Yes, I got my days all sort of confused. I got a nasty cold from that.
No.
It
Have you
wasn't
had
very
colds
nice.
often?
Not normally. I'm normally a bit more sort of robust when it comes to the more extreme weathers, but that particular one caught me off guard. I think it might have been the drop in temperature. I think, but I'm out every day delivering posts, so I'm always outside. So I've got a bit of a extra immune system to it. How have things been at Blackstaff?
Well, different. Definitely different. As always with change, things move on. Roles, responsibilities, life, I suppose, gets different and a bit more boring of late. But other than that, it's all right, I suppose.
You don't seem too happy about it.
The Blackstaff Library was really the first place I felt at home here. You might have guessed I'm not from here originally. And the first place that I known, the first people that I knew, well, they've gone. Students come and go, and I remain.
I can imagine that's quite lonely.
Well, it is, and it was, and then I received a rather nice letter saying, "Hello, Huxley. Would you like to come for a drink?" And I said yes, and here I am now, and it's very nice.
He watches Simeon blushes to that, and he leans forward, and naturally his hands touch yours, and he sort of pulls away for a moment, not knowing if that's...
I'm sorry, they're very greasy. I wasn't quite sure what to do.
No, it's fine. I didn't know if I was being too forward or not. Sorry.
There's nothing to be sorry for.
Oh,
is that food?
Oh yes, and the food comes as he's just about to say something. The food comes and is presented in front of you. He looks a bit. He eyebrow raises at it briefly, and right. Shall we tuck in?
Yes, let's.
Yes, and you both eat your food in silence. Would you talk? Would you try to?
Oh,
have
I'd
a
be
conversation?
talking all the way through. Yeah, I mean we've got a lot of tusks going on the lower jaw, so poor Simeon is being subjected to probably quite a lot coming at him. But I think Huxley's aware of this and sort of trying to prevent any spray. Yeah. I think there's quite a few awkward moments where Simeon probably says something, Huxley laughs probably far too loudly, but is appearing to have a very good time.
As food is had, more drinks come in. The night ends with Simeon walking you back to Blackstaff, as it's just over the road. So I had a very pleasant time. Thank you very much, Huxley. I'd quite like for us to do this again, if that's okay with you.
Are you free tomorrow?
I can be free tomorrow, yes.
Let's meet tomorrow. Same again.
Same again. Exact same again. I quite enjoyed that. And he sort of, there's that awkward moment where you're about to say goodbye to each other, and he holds a hand out to you.
I don't suppose you've noticed, but I've got very long arms. Not many people, apart from Mrs. Trickle, have been granted the honor of this, but I think I may give this to you, if you'll let me, of course. And he's going to hold on to Simeon's arm, like by the elbow, and very gently just bring him in for like the biggest hug that he's probably ever experienced in his life.
Yeah.
And
Ooh.
Huxley will just say, I don't think I've had a friend before like you.
Oh.
And I am so pleased to have met you.
Thank you. It's very kind of you. And as Simeon pulls away, there's that sort of noise as the two creases. Sort of,
yes. Sorry.
maybe
I don't have prestidigitation, I'm afraid. I can get you some water.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'm going to be heading home now anyway. Maybe we both don't grease up so much tomorrow night.
No. I will be grease free. Fret not.
As will I.
Yes. Good.
And he waves goodbye to you and makes his way back to his home as you make your way in. And over the next month, 2 months, 3 months, a year, let's say a year, over the next year, every single evening, you both meet and you both go to the Smiling Siren. You both order the exact same food, the exact same drinks.
Poor Simeon.
I reckon there's a few times where Simeon suggests savoury. Like there'll be a couple of times where you'll have just savoury and just sweet, and then there'll be other times where you have a mixture of both. And Simeon will begin like introducing you to different foods. Drinks are always the same. That doesn't change. And you become quite friendly with the people in the tavern as well. They, the staff mainly, they greet you every time they come in. These people don't ignore you. All of the other patrons who are members of the Black Staff, they ignore you like they do when it's working hours. But the staff members like you a lot, and you always get at least one free drink every time you go in. After about a year, I think that's when, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the relationship starts to develop between the two of you over the course of the year. And I think, because we know from Huxley's book club that Simeon was or is Huxley's husband.
Mm-hmm.
So I reckon by the time this year is seen out, the pair of you have gotten married and are living together in Simeon's house, maybe, or
possibly. Yes, but because of their two jobs, it's difficult for them to actually see each other. So regardless of where either of them are living, it's unlikely that they'll be able to see each other other than at the end of the day. And because the Blackstaff Tower is the way it is, like Huxley works every day. There's no day off for Huxley. Or at least that's what he assumes. I don't think anyone probably tells him that it's otherwise.
Yeah.
So yeah, sure, we'll say that he lives with Simeon. But yeah, they don't get a lot of time together.
There is one thing that pops into your mind. Every time you try to steal a few moments with each other whenever Simeon brings the post to the library. And again, as it's been since the moment the pair of you met, Miss Stonestar gets in the way. And I think at this point you've got a lot of knowledge on magic at this point in all of the lesser known magics, to the point where you begin looking into maybe some different types of spells that could help in this sort of situation. Now, I've got written down here, because we're going off of Huxley's backstory that Liz has sent over to me, that you've tried a few different spells, one of them being rope trick, which sort of worked, but you got caught because even though you can sort of pull the string up and sort of be enclosed in your little extra dimensional space, it can be a bit noticeable, especially when you walk underneath it and people sort of look up and see the two of you in there.
Yeah.
So that was very quickly discovered.
Just to confirm, there's nothing saucy going on between
No.
these two. It's simply just to have a little minute, have a little chat, watch a bit of TV.
Yeah.
That's where we're going with these two. But yeah, the rope trick not so successful, and there's a rope, like you say, dangling out of it still, so you can get out. So yeah.
I think a lot of the, like you say, no sauciness to it whatsoever, but a lot of it is eating like lunches together and stuff, and like trying to spend actual time with each other. Like Simeon will come around on his lunch break and you'll try and steal like a moment in an area where you can't be disturbed, sort of thing. But eventually you come across a book in the library called The Joy of Extra Dimensional Spaces, 2nd edition, abridged. And reading through that, you discover that there is, unlike other spell books, this isn't a spell book, but it does contain a spell in it. Now, this spell is a custom-made spell that does not appear in any of the spell books that you've looked at so far. It doesn't have a name or anything like that. It doesn't work quite like the traditional D&D spells do. It's, if you were to equate it to something, it would be like the mansion spell, where you create your extra dimensional mansion space. It's very similar to that, but it's been tweaked. And you copy that spell into... the spell itself is very difficult to copy into a book, so you can't just scribe it over into your own book. But you can use this book itself. It's like this book is part of the component to cast a spell. And you do that one day, and this large gateway opens up, and you can walk into it, and you walk into a open field with bright blue skies, clouds dotted around, not in a it's going to rain sort of way, but in a summery sort of way. And there's a bright light breeze that is blowing around, and it's really tranquil, but it just seems to go on forever. And over time, you enter into this space. You and Simeon enter into this space. You bring Simeon in, and over time you can begin to build a home in there. And the appearance of it changes to how you'd like it to be. So the grass begins to laugh. The sky takes on a pinkish hue to it, and it begins to feel a lot more like the home that you came from. And it gets to a point where you're both in this book, because you have to enter into the book in order for it to happen. The gateway is part of the book, and Simeon is in the house. It's a white house with the picketed fence around it, and Simeon's in there cooking dinner. And as you come in from having a day of work in the library, you've managed to sneak him in at some point, and he's managed to get in there. Right, I've made us some whipped cream, cherries, and beef for dinner, if that's okay.
You know it's my favourite. Yes, of course, that's okay.
Good.
How are you anyway? It's been, oh gosh, today, Miss Stone Star. Well, the library was completely silent, and I swear she farted.
Oh,
Yes.
I would have. There's part of me that would like to have heard that, but also part of me that would not like to have heard that. Definitely would not like to have. No, I'm not going to finish that sentence. Anyway, but anything else interesting happen at work today? I had a day off, so I've been in here pretty much all day.
I was going to say, I don't remember you coming in. You're sneaky.
I didn't leave. I said I was going to, but I decided to take the day off.
That makes sense. Other than that, not much did happen. I managed to stack 20 books at once. Thank you very much. And I'll offer a little high five out.
Gives you a high five.
Yes.
Got a little bit of whipped cream on it. It just slaps. Sorry.
Nope,
Fingers.
it's fine. Yeah. Other than that, not much.
Okay, well, I was thinking, because I've been here all day. I was thinking about having a bit of a rearrange around if you were up for it. Maybe
I'm up for it. Yeah.
yeah, maybe extend the building a little bit. I know this is a magical space and we can do whatever it is we like in here. So I was maybe thinking make it a bit bigger, maybe.
Say the word and we'll do it. I can show you how if you want.
Yes. I mean, I'm not magically inclined in any way, but I'd be more than willing to sit and watch and learn from you. I'd love that.
I really want, the scene from Ghost where they're at the pottery wheel.
Yeah.
I want that to be happening.
Yeah, that's happening. But instead of it being pottery, it's
Like
scribing
incense and shit. Yeah.
Yeah, you're both doing that. As much as you could do whatever you want in this place because it's magical, you can literally just think of something and it just sort of pops up. You're both very practical and hands-on with making your own stuff.
Mhm.
So yes, 100%. Whatever it is you want to do, whether it be making new pots for the flowers and stuff, or new incense, or maybe even new furniture, you can 100% do the ghost thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Or maybe I just maybe Huxley says that to Simeon. That's what you need to do when actually you just need to think it. But they're just having a little moment. Yeah.
And after a bit of time, Simeon looks to you. I love you.
I love you too.
How do you feel about there being more around? Maybe more people?
But then it wouldn't just be us.
No, but when I was at work the other day, and I was walking around the streets, I noticed a lot of people who aren't as well off as others, don't quite have homes or anything like that, and it got me thinking. Maybe what if we tried? I don't know how you'd feel about this, but what if we tried maybe adopting? How would you feel about that?
I'd never really thought about it before. But we if you want to, I mean, we could give it a go. Considering I once had nowhere to go. I'm sure there's plenty of young people who are in need of a roof over their head.
That's what I was thinking, and it's a subject that I've been a bit wary of approaching because I didn't know how you'd feel about it. But
Never do that. No, never hold back what you feel.
I should know that by now, shouldn't I? Really?
Yes, you should. I remind you frequently that
You do.
You know
And-
this. Come
and
on,
I-
Sylvian.
and I still do it.
You do.
If it's maybe it's something we could at least look into and discuss before making like a final decision on it.
Yes, yeah, well, of course.
Okay, well, I'm going to finish off dinner. You get yourself ready, and I'll see you in a little bit. And he leans in and gives you a little peck on the cheek, and then walks off to begin preparing more food.
I think Huxley is processing. The words all sound like a really great idea, but Huxley's kind of going through the practical side of things. They both have jobs, and there's a lot going on in his head right now.
Yeah, that's
A
fair.
lot to think about.
And you have a lovely evening together. The subject isn't brought up again, but you just enjoy each other's company like you always do. And it gets to the next day, and Simeon goes to work. You go to work, and today is this new day is a particularly strange day. There are exams coming up for the apprentices, and Astra has been in and out of the library for the past couple of months. continuously studying as it's getting towards the end of his apprenticeship. I should say for the viewers, it's been about 30 years since you first came to Blackstaff. So Astra has actually been here for about 10 years through going through basic schooling as a student and then through an apprenticeship as well. So it's getting towards his final exams, and he's explained to you that he's still been a bit nervous about certain spells, and his control over those spells hasn't been the greatest. Every time he tries to talk to you about it, Mrs. Stonestar sort of shoos you away to carry on with your job, as you are not educated enough in her eyes to be teaching anybody, let alone an apprentice of Blackstaff, about these sort of spells. But with today, you come out into the library, and Astra is there the entire day, studying away, and every now and then you do catch him trying to practice spells. He gets told off by Stonestar, but she doesn't ask him to leave. And you go about your duties as normal. And Simeon comes in and delivers the post. You don't steal a moment with each other on this particular day. Simeon comes in. Sorry, we should roleplay this. Simeon comes in. It's like, I've bought the post in for today. The normal raised eyebrow from Stonestar as she's watching the pair of you intently. He puts the post down. I'm really sorry, Huxley. I've actually got to quickly dash off, so I can't actually hang around today. I've had to take on some extra work. One of the other postmen has called in sick, so I can't stay around for as long today, I'm afraid.
Right, okay, if that's what you need to do.
Yes, but I'll see you this evening, okay?
Okay.
Gives you a cheeky wink and then quickly darts out the door. And you hear the tut come from Stonestar again. And she tells you to get back to work. Put the post away.
Yes, Miss Stonestar.
Simeon, since that first letter that Simeon put in the parcel for you to put in the pigeonhole, he sent you a letter every single day since then, except for today. There hasn't been one. Put that down to maybe because he's rushed off of his feet. We're not 100% sure, but it gets to the evening time and Stonestar has gone home for the evening. It's just you in the library with Astra, and Simeon walks in and he looks tired. Looks like he's been almost run off of his feet, and he just looks to you. That was a long day. I'm ready for bed. You reckon we could catch some? Do you reckon I could catch some sleep in the?
Yes, of course. Here, look, you caught yourself on something, and he's like got a rip on his shirt somewhere from rushing about. Just cast mending on that. I'll be there in a second.
Okay. You cast the incantation on this book to open the doorway, and he walks into it, and the doorway closes and the book shuts. And you have the book in your hand. Do you keep that book on your person at all times, or do you put it away in like a secret spot when you're not?
I think usually Huxley would keep it on his person. It's very rare that there'd be a lot of time where one of them was in there and the other wasn't. But I think on this specific circumstance, he can see that, Astra's been there for a long time. Huxley kind of wants to get out of there, so I'll just put it on the counter of the library, just to go over to Astra and make sure everything's okay.
As you walk over to Astra, he's got a lot of books stacked up around him, and he's been sort of huddled in his little area for a little bit. You can't see what he's doing. You can just see sort of the bottom of his back arched forward, like he's leaning forward, and you can't quite see what he's doing.
How's it going?
and you just hear him go, "Oh!" And as you hear him jump, you watch as a spark of lightning shoots out from where he is and hits into one of the bookshelves, and one of the bookshelves just bursts into flames. As the books fall down around him, you can see that he had his hands in like a sphere, and he had like loads of little magical elements sort of connecting between his fingers, a bit of fire, a bit of electricity. It's like he was trying to do a contaminated control spell. That you making him jump has caused him to fling it up in to a direction, has caused a fire to start erupting within Black Tower. And as his hands have sort of separated, it's like he's suddenly cast burning hands, and a cone just erupts forward and causes a massive fire to start in the library. Books begin falling off the shelves as they begin sizzling in flames, and Astra's like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, I'm so sorry, and because everything in here is pretty much made of wood or paper, it just spreads like wildfire.
I think Huxley, like, the only things at his disposal in this moment is the spell counterspell, which will not work because the spell's already been cast, but he'll be trying anyway to stop it from happening. He'll have a little bag of sand, because all wizards do tend to have that in their equipment, and he'll kind of try to use that to dampen down the flames, and he'll start singeing in that moment as well. Oh god.
I don't know what to do.
Get out. Be
okay.
safe.
And then he runs out of the door, and it just leaves you in this burning library. As books begin falling off of the shelves, the fire begins spreading around. Roll me a perception check, please.
13.
You turn around and you're looking at everything that's going on, and then it clicks in your brain. The book. It's on the counter. And as you turn to the counter is on fire. The book has been completely engulfed in flames.
No. Oh, he's safe in there. He's fine. I'll fire be damned. I will go and try and claim the book or whatever remains of it. I will go through flame to get there.
Yeah. You run through the flames. You'll take some damage from the fire as it begins burning away at your fur and begins searing into your flesh. You reach into where the book is and you grab it. And as you grab the book, the flame is so intense that as you go to pull at the book, it just tears, and some of it crumbles into dust, and you are left with a portion of the bottom half of the book in your hand. And as you open it out and it all sort of crumbles and fades away, there's a small parchment of the book of paper from the book left. As the flames begin licking up all around you, what do you do?
We were safe. We were safe in the book. Clutching it to my heart. I think at this point alarms are beginning to sound. I'd hope that Astra has let someone know that this has happened, and as the alarms are going, just in absolute shock, looking around the library at all of the books that are aflame. He's going to get out of there, but the moment he's out of those doors by the wall where his hand had sort of touched the first time he came in, he's just going to put his back to it and just slump down onto his haunches. And he's going to be racking through his brain ways of, he's going to try and cast mending on it, knowing it's not going to work. He's going to try and like re-say the vows that they said at their wedding in hope to like summon Simeon back, but none of it is working, and he's racking his brains as people are rushing past him to try and get into the library to save the library. Yeah, that's where he's at.
And as you say, a bunch of staff members go in to the fire and they begin casting create and destroy water sort of spells, water-based spells to dampen out the flames. And it takes a bit of time, and but eventually the fire is put out. Miss Stone Star comes back and the blame is put solely on your shoulders. She blames you for this fire happening. How dare you practice magic after hours? It's incredibly dangerous. Look what you've done to these books. Your punishment is going to be describe every single one of these books until the library is restored. Do you understand me?
Still clutching the parchment that remains. I understand, Miss Stonestar.
Right, I suggest you go home for the day. You've done more than enough damage.
I'll just look at the parchment. Yes, Miss Stonestar.
And you go home. You go to Simeon's home. You don't always live in the book. It's more of a little getaway where you can relax more than anything. But his absence is felt, and going into what would be considered the final time skip, over the next 30 years, Stone Star, unfortunately, does not croak it. She is the head of the library for the next 30 years.
She's got centuries left in her.
She's got
She'll
centuries.
be going for ages. Yeah.
It's like a blip on her radar, this particular period of life. But you are tasked with still stacking the shelves, still sorting the post out, and then scribing all of the books that were destroyed in the fire. And it gets to a point eventually where there is a notification going around of a job for a group known as the Shepards, and they are requesting a member from Blackstaff to go to accompany them to go to the to go to a place called Blackwater. And it's actually Stone Star who's gotten a bit sick of you being around after 30 years, who actually volunteers for you to join the Shepards to get out of her sight, basically. And I think that's how Huxley enters into the Drowning in Blackwater campaign that we all saw, that is shown on Roll Together previously. And I think over the 30 years, you've put that piece of paper in the locket as you've put in your backstory. And we're going to do a very, very cheeky time skip. So I know I said the last one was the last time skip.
Oh, I love a cheeky time skip.
But this is a cheeky time skip. This is a time skip where we come to a situation where Drowning in Blackwater has happened. Huxley's book club has happened. We're in a time period now where we don't know where Huxley is.
Because a time period unknown.
We don't know what Huxley's been up to since we last saw him. So,
Gosh.
Liz, do you have an idea of what Huxley might have been up to since the end of Huxley's book club? Like after,
oh boy.
Just as a little bit of a thing for the audience and for Liz as well, in case you didn't know, Huxley's book club carries on after the incident that happened within that four-parter. The key differences is that Alaric, one of the members of the book club, has passed away naturally, and Tine, I believe, is in the process of writing another book, or at least
littered
said.
with spelling mistakes. Littered. Yeah.
Littered with spelling mistakes. And in honor of Alaric, you keep having the party, the book club with everybody else, and always have the cinnamon buns. But what would Huxley be up to other than that after this time period?
I think now Huxley's wages are not great, but like he's had a long career up to this point, especially with his work with the Shepards. And I think the money that he's gathered And given the events that happened in the book club series, he's going to make extensions to Simeon's house, which has still been stood there since Simeon left. He's making everything that Simeon suggested. He's felt very guilty that time has passed and he's not helped anybody that was in his shoes. And he is going to begin setting up an orphanage. But not an orphanage as such, because he's going to be the parent figure for everybody there. Yeah, he's going to bring life to a house that has lost its sense of fun since Simeon left. And I like to think that as time does move on, because it does, Huxley's 80 now, I think, 83, roughly.
How long do bugbears live?
Not that long, I think.
But you're a fey bugbear, so it could be different.
That's true. I mean, he's not showing it, if that helps. But
yeah.
I like to think that the locket, as Huxley has welcomed many new faces to this house, I think the locket is going to start vibrating. And I think that might be where, as the sound of laughter kind of comes from the door of this house that he's made, I think that's where maybe, it's up to you, Josh, but where maybe this may stop for today.
As we close out the session, laughter around the house, and as the laughter leaves the house, there is a hooded figure stood at the gateway, looking at Huxley with the other children. A much older Astra with a book in his hand. And I think that's where we'll end it, because that could lead into something a little more. Anyway, thank you very much, everybody, for watching us go into Huxley's backstory. I hope everything went okay. Hope you liked it, Liz.
Oh, I loved it. Oh my god, it was great. Thank you.
Good. If you've liked what you've seen, you can find us as Roll Together RPG on Twitch on Mondays and Tuesdays at 6 p.m. UK time, where we play the Dungeons of the Dragons. And you can also find us on another day, to be confirmed if it's still Fridays, could be Wednesdays, I don't know yet, where we will be playing non-D&D games. Check out our socials, join our Discord for all of the information on all of that. Discord's the place where we post updates more regularly than the socials, but go to both, join both, it's fantastic. Massive thank you to our sponsor, Phoenix Dice, and our supporter, Bearded Ladies, and a massive thank you to the D20 Club on Patreon. You are the best. Thank you. Without your support, we wouldn't be able to do what we do or carry on doing what we do. You can join from as little as one of your local currency per month, or one goat, which must be sent to Tom, no exceptions. And if you did like it, please do consider leaving us a like, posting a comment, and subscribing to our YouTube channel, where it lets the algorithm know what it is you like, so that we know what to do more of. We're trying to hit 500 subscribers so that we can get to the partnered status and start doing more stuff. So please help. Anyway, we're going to go, and we will see you next time for more stuff, more emotions, more roleplay, more destroying things. Yes. Anyway, I'm going to go. I'm rambling. Bye.